everyone. Stay tuned to the end of the video if you're interested in finding out information about how to talk with me on a one-on-one basis. Enjoy the video now. Hey folks, welcome to the channel Thinking Theology. I'm Don. We're looking at what is the best version of the Bible? And that is a loaded question. It is a loaded topic because some people are very wedded to say the King James Version or whichever version that they study. They think this is the preserved Word of God. So I won't go too much into that. I did a video earlier on, is the Bible the Word of God? And it's from a different perspective, but I'm more of a philosopher with a theological background just by choice. I've studied a lot of things in my lifetime, but I look at the arguments being made. So with this in mind, we're going to just sort of like broach some broad brushes here about different versions of the Bible and why they may or may not be preferred over others. The first question is like, do you trust one version above the others? Are you personally wedded to one being the version that you think perhaps God preserved through the ages, through translations and different variations and translators and such? Is there one that you're convinced is like the best? There are hundreds of versions of the Bible, and that alone sort of clues me in anyway as to the fact that like it really has its human stamp in various places, put it that way. Now, some folks say the original, the uncials, the original version of the Bible is God handed it down to, say, Moses, or some might even think to Paul, Peter, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Those were original. Those were perfect. And now what we have is just good representations of what they said. But I've even done my own paraphrastic version of the Bible. It took me 1.5 years to do my first go through where I rewrote the New Testament in my own words, working off of 6 other translations. And that's part of the impetus for this video where I posed these questions, because I didn't do a translation because I don't speak Hebrew. I don't speak Greek. I could do what everybody else does and use a concordance and dictionaries and such to get meanings of different words, but I don't speak them. I'm not fluent, so I can't call it a translation. What I did was I took 6 English translations of the Bible, many of which are, a number of which are radically different from the others, and then I ferreted out what I considered to be the best interpretation of a given thought, word, or sentence. And the first time through, it took 1.5 years. And then the second time through, I revisited it about 5 years later, and that took me upwards of about 1 year to go through that again, a second version. And that's basically the process that even translators go through. Their means of coming up with the English words on the page is different, where they take the sense of what might have been in the Hebrew or the Greek or the Latin or whichever they worked off of. And that determines in part what the English is going to say that you read from their translations. And that's why there are so many hundreds of translations out there. So is a Greek-based translation better than, say, a Hebrew-based translation, right? Because New Testament was written in Greek, which is a problem, by the way, because the early church was Jewish or Hebrew. They spoke Hebrew or Estrangelo-Aramaic or Aramaic. So it is a problem for some folks who say, why did Paul write in Greek? What was the point to that? That it shows that there was some kind of problem back then. But this is what translations can actually show, is deeper issues that need to be resolved or at least understood so that you have a more informed faith. Okay, so like examples of translations are like the Latin Vulgate, which was written in 382 and was based on the Tanakh rather than the Greek Septuagint. So here we have it coming from a different language. So what does that mean about that translation? Or the Darby Bible. A lot of people who study the Bible and teachers and such will reference the Darby Bible, which was written in the 1800s. Or the King James, which was written in 1611, but revised in 1769. So the people who used the version from 1611, were they wrong in certain parts? Because it was revised. So what did those revisions include? And then you leap forward and you've got the New King James Version, written in a more common vernacular. And that was done in 1982. So is that a more proper translation? Or some folks like the ESV. I used to use the ESV when I was more actively involved in Bible study. Now I'm not. But is the ESV a better translation? Is it more accurate? Does it represent God's words better than these others? So that's a relatively simple series of questions with just a few bullet points about translations. And wonder what your thoughts are. You can leave those in the comments as far as which version you use and where you think what I just presented might be flawed, might be good food for thought, or what have you. So that's it. Thinking theology. It's just about putting thought into what we're thinking. There you go. All right, folks. Have a great day. Subscribe if you haven't. That would be wonderful. And I'll see you on another video. Keep thinking theology. Everyone, this is just a video to let you know that I'm available on a one-on-one basis for personal coaching or for conversations about theological topics. Could be relationships you're having with somebody who's a bit toxic in their faith. Maybe they're over the top. Maybe you're having questions, maybe doubts, or just wondering about your church or whatever. The theology obviously covers a broad range and spectrum of issues. So if you need or want to speak with somebody about these topics in a non-judgmental way, non-confrontational way, I'm available on a one-on-one basis. I've been doing this for many years, not just with theology, with executive business coaching. I work in personal spaces with people who are going through a divorce. And this is not about establishing your faith or challenging you on faith. This has nothing to do with your particular denomination, faith, religion. This is about relationships and how to process some of the nuances of your faith that you may not have considered, that may ease your mind about how you're thinking about things or approaching things. So my normal fee for executive business coaching is $250 per hour, but for theological topics, I've kept it at $95 per hour. And some folks may even need special consideration on that fee. And we could discuss that if you have financial hardship. And our conversations take place by phone, and we'll make a lot of progress in a short period of time. So don't hesitate to reach out. I'm very approachable. I've been doing this for many years. My direct email is thinkingtheologytoday@gmail.com. That comes directly to me. And it's scrolling across the screen now, but it's also in the description box below. So if you're interested in talking with me on a one-on-one basis, that's how to do it. All right, folks, have a great day. I'll see you on another video. Keep thinking theology.